Yeah. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, yes, Sanjana.
Great. So let's get started. So first, let's have a quick overview of why and what this Anypoint monitoring is. So it is a feature that is provided by Anypoint platform, which helps us to understand the state of the systems or applications or APIs that we have deployed on Cloud Hub as well as in our hybrid environments. And why it is important? It is important for many purposes. Like first is it can helps us to understand, like I said, the state of the application or an API to have decisions or make decisions in terms of scalability, availability, or the reliability of my API or an application. It is also provides a high level view or the visibility of how your network is laid down, like how your APIs or applications are connected internally, how the API led connectivity is being addressed in your in your environment. It gives you a visibility of those things also. It is also important from an operations or a development point of view to do analysis and to do troubleshooting and to identify various issues. Now, this helps in a way that you can see it reduces the mean time for identification. Now, consider some error has occurred, right? So you are going into the Cloud Hub logs, checking different particular logs of what has failed, what not has failed. Now imagine a way wherein you can get an auto generated log of, you can just filter it on the basis of any error that you think, or even at a very granular level, like what connector had failed. So these things will really help to reduce the mean time identification of the issue, and like we say, the issue earlier identified can be addressed as soon as possible, right? So this helps in those terms as well. So these are the feature, and also it helps you to increase performance. Like for example, if you're seeing that some of your API are working slow, or one of your API or application is having a very slow response time, so you can always go to that API, either auto scale, scale it up horizontally, vertically, and give it a better performance. You can also have alerts on those things, which we will discuss later in the point. So these are just a very few features or the advantages of using any point monitoring. So next, we have two subscriptions for this. First is the platinum or the gold, and the titanium. Now let's see what are the differences in those. So as you can see in the slide, the right side represents the titanium version, which is having a few more features like the reports, the
Hello, Sanjana.
yeah.
Some background noise is coming. It seems Anup. Can you mute and we'll see like it's coming from your end.
Yeah, I actually muted it from my mic.
Okay, it's good now. Yeah, continue, Sanjana. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks for pointing it out. Or else we would have gone the complete session uncomfortably. Thanks. So yeah, so like you can see on the right side, we have a few more features that is provided in the titanium version, which is the report section, the custom metrics, and the log management. So we can see quite few difference between the gold and the titanium. There are also certain differences in each of the tabs. So for example, we have a built-in dashboards that we will see in the later slides. So in the built-in dashboard as well, there are certain features which are available, additional features which are available in titanium, like the flow chart analysis, or the connector analysis, or the data retention. So the data retention is more than 30 days in the titanium subscriptions, whereas for the platinum subscription it is not that much. For the custom dashboards as well, there are certain additional features which are present, like the mode, advanced mode, or the basic mode, and such things. So depending upon your requirement, the project's requirement, or the use case, you can always choose a subscription that adheres to your requirement, or that will be beneficial for you. So all of the details you can always go through to the MuleSoft subscription documentation websites, and a detailed descriptions of such differences are provided. But the major ones are something which we have highlighted over here, and we can also look in the later demo parts as well. So let's move to the features one by one that we have presented. So first is coming to the reports section. So this is also a titanium feature. Now what it does is it will give you the like the name suggests, it will give you the report analysis or a high level list of the running applications, and in terms of certain metrics like performance, CPU utilizations, memory utilizations, and so on. Now, the important thing to note over here is what tabs will be available depends upon your deployment strategy. So, say for example, you are having a Cloud Hub deployment strategies. So, you will be able to see all of these tabs. But if it is kind of a hybrid or a standalone deployment strategies, then you can see the request, performance, and failures tab for obvious reasons that the infrastructure is not maintained by Cloud Hub. It is being governed by the individual standalone system or another hybrid system. So this is one thing. So let's see what all things we can see in the report section and how we can leverage it. So let me again share my screen to the endpoint section, and you guys can tell me if you're able to see this code.
Yes, Sanjana.
Okay, so
Sorry to interrupt you. Still, there is a background noise is coming. If you can close door or something like that.
okay, I'm not sure. Let me just. I think it's because of the way that I'm sitting.
Yeah.
Just give me a moment.
Some
Is it
adjustment,
better now?
please. Yes, go on. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the report section in the Anypoint monitoring page. So as you can see, you can pull out a report for a specific environment. Okay, and that you will get the list of all the applications which have been deployed in that particular environment. And you can see the different statistics related to that. Now, for example, we have chosen the sandbox environment, and we have two applications on that environment. So as you can see, the target name is where the deployment has happened. Since we have deployed both the applications on the Cloud Hub, it is the target over here is the Cloud Hub. Now on the performance tab, on the request volume tab, you can see how many requests have been received by these applications, and the how many of these were the successful requests apart from these. So as you can see, all of the requests that were received were successful, but in this one there were certain failures. Now to analyze this, you can further deep down into the monitoring and see what failed and what caused the issues. So where next tab is for the performance tab. Now this is much more related to how your API is or application is functioning. Like for example, the experience API that you can see over here, right? So the request volume again is the number of requests that you have received, and this is the average response time. So if you can see, the average response time for these 29 requests is around 1 second, which is quite a bit high. So you can understand, you can have a benchmark. So or the developer always is aware of how complex or how heavy their processes are in the APIs that they have developed. So they can always set a benchmark of their response time, that what can be considered as a good response time or a slow response time. So this is one for the performance tab. The failure tab focuses more on what has failed, how many requests have failed at a high level. Like for this experience API, we have received a total of 29 requests, of which 5 have inbound requests have failed, and obviously the remainings were successful. So either you use the failure tab or the request tab to understand how much failed or not. It totally depends on you and how you are utilizing this report section. The CPU utilization again says the number of the percentage of the CPU that has been utilized by the applications. That is, I think this is something which you can also see on the runtime dashboard. So this is the same feature, but at the report level. So in runtime, you have to go to each of the API, open its dashboard and see it. But over here, it is already giving you a concise view of all the applications on your environment. The memory utilization, like the name suggests, it will say what is the total available heap memory that you have how much you have utilized it, and the percent of memory utilization. Now this is important again to scale your applications if and when required. So the operations team or the developers can pull out a report, because it can be exported on a daily basis or anything like that, to just monitor it from a scalability perspective, like if there are any application that may require scaling up or scaling down, horizontal or vertical scaling. And you can also pull out the report on the basis of the dates, like 24 hours, 7, 15, 30 days, 90 days. But I said this totally depends on the data retention policy, which is applicable to your subscription levels.
Sanjana,
Uh, go ahead, Balkis. Yeah.
okay, there is a question. So from Verma side, it is good to say any point monitoring is analogy of Kibana Watcher.
I have not really used the Kibana Watcher that you are mentioning. So I think for me to, have the differentiation between that, I might have to, use both of them. Then I'll be in a good position to, use to say that
Um,
if it is better or not.
yeah, I think I can take that question. So Kibana is generally used for a log aggregation tool, but here you get to see the utilization of the CPUs, memory utilization of the CPUs. I don't think Kibana has that capability, right? Kibana is just whenever we send a log to the elk, uh, and then to Kibana dashboard will just give you the logs information, and you can analyze the logs that we are sending. But here there is a connection between the control plane and runtime plane, and runtime plane actually sends the informations about the CPUs, the EC2 instances, the memory utilization, the CPU utilizations of that to the control plane, and you will be able to see that all that here. And that
Yeah,
will,
right. That's a good point. Thanks for giving me a quick overview of the Kibana. So yeah, like if this is more, if this seems to be more of a log or tracing tool like Splunk or something like that. So definitely there is a lot of difference that this monitoring provides. Like I said, so the logs can help you to troubleshoot the issue, but things like CPU utilization, memory utilization can also help you to make your API reliable or scalable, something like that, right?
yeah, yeah. So we have one more question. Few more questions actually. So is there any way that we can get the request which got failed from here, from reports tab?
From the reports tab, you may not, because if you click on the API, it will route you to the runtime page over here,
Mhm.
and then you can see on failed, or it will basically give you take you to the dashboard page. Now from here you can always see how many requests have failed. Now we can come to this later in the later slides. We are going to go through the built-in dashboards, but from here you can see. And also what I can suggest is you can use this log search from the log management feature, which again is the next part in our slide, and select that particular API. So now you know that okay, this particular API is having failures, right? You can select that particular API and see for any errors that I will be showing in the next slides.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Sanjana. And the next question is, what was the CPU percentage refers to? Is it a
Hmm.
vCore? Um, what does that percentage is referring to?
Yeah, it is the percentage of your CPU utilization. So, like you can see, right, in any of the runtime dashboard. If you go over here,
Mm,
There's
it is more
another
related.
question. Is this subscription available for government cloud? So, Varun, do you mean by government cloud? Are you trying to say trial access or what?
no, maybe any point monitoring access. Out of the box, it's not available, Varun, for government cloud. We would need to add it as an add-on.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So this is the same features that you can see over here. So by CPU utilization is the total memory, like how many resource allocation has been given to your application, whereas memory utilization is more in terms of heap memory utilization, like
Mm,
how many, what was available to you, how many you have utilized, what is the percentage.
okay, okay.
Okay. Can we
Uh,
move ahead, or there are any other
Yeah, there is
questions,
one.
Rakesh?
yeah. So, as Dheeraj is asking, yes, as Dheeraj is related to CPU utilization is related to VCore, so that is the he is referring to.
Yeah.
And the question is like from Sandhya is how to get the CPU utilization report without Anypoint platform.
Yeah, so like I said, you can always go to the runtime manager of your particular application. Over here as well, you will get the same dashboard, built-in dashboard that you are seeing over here in the Anypoint plat monitoring. So you can go and always have your,
I think
utilization
her
status on
question
here.
is like without Anypoint platform. It's possible, Sanjana? Like,
Without any point platform. Okay, there is that. This is interesting. So I am aware that we do have APIs for getting, certain data from for analytics point of view, but I'm not really sure if there is a specific API or a resource that can help you to get such kind of information from a CPU perspective.
Yeah. So,
So maybe,
Sandhya, to answer your question, you can use Anypoint CLI. So there are services which provides you this information out of the box. Then you need to send that information to some analysis tools, and then you can get it from there. Yeah, but
yeah,
Anypoint
so
platform is a preferable one because it gives you all the report. But yeah, we can you can do that as well.
yeah, so there are actually for doing such things in the back end, there are always multiple options that Anypoint provides, MuleSoft provides, which is one CLI that Anoop mentioned, and also the APIs if there are any backend APIs that have been exposed by MuleSoft. So those can be leveraged. But yeah, I think even the CLI can be useful. But we need to make a judgment call basis upon our requirement, what is required. Like if there is something that we need to automate, then definitely that can help us.
Is there any way to do the similar kind of monitoring in any point platform rather than in cloud? Um,
I'm sorry, can
I,
you please
I,
elaborate more? Maybe we can
yeah,
understand.
Akshaya, like what do you mean? Because any
uh,
point platform is this only what you're able to say. This is the same thing we call cloud hub also.
actually, you have a mic now. If you want to clear, you can.
Akshaya.
I enabled her. She's getting.
Yeah, actually, yeah, maybe like I think you need to understand like Cloud Hub is a it's a runtime, and the Anypoint platform is a control plane. So you need to have that
Yeah.
difference.
So just a thumb
Yeah.
rule that maybe you can follow over here. So whenever you go to your runtime manager, you can see that this is our Cloud Hub environment. So whenever we talk about Cloud Hub, we are generally referring to this runtime manager where our applications are being deployed. And the remaining part, all these features are a part of
Part
the
of any
Anypoint
point
platform.
platform.
So
Yeah.
that is a thumb rule that you can help, that will help you to understand. Okay. Okay, let's move on. So I think we have covered the report section. So let's move on to the log management section, which I was talking about. Now, this is a very interesting and a helpful feature of Anypoint monitoring that we can use. So I remember that someone was just asking a query regarding what has failed, how we can capture that, right? So let's go over here. So as a operations team, maybe I pull out a report and I understand that okay, this particular application has some failures. Now I want to see what has failed in these applications. So what can help me over here is the log search, because the log search gives a feasibility to troubleshoot and query or filter, have a search on those logs basically. So it can help me aggregate, search, filter, or even troubleshoot the logs. So over here, first important thing is we need to see that how much how what all the data are we looking at. Okay, so I am looking particularly for something which has failed in the experience API. Then probably now I have just filtered from experience API what has only failed in the error part. So as you can see, I can see the list of all the failures which have happened in the 24 hours in this particular API. Now, if I want to search for a particular failure, like let's say if I want to see how many timeout errors have occurred in my API, so generally when you do this via runtime manager, it becomes tricky, right? Because you have to search, then you have to either you download the logs, open in a notepad or a notepad plus plus, and then count the number of failures or something like that. But when you're working here, it gives you directly the metrics or the the quantity, like let's say 3. So I can see that there are 3 failures that I can see for which are related to the HTTP timeout or something like that. So this can help you, if I hope this answers your question, and this is how you can search for a particular failure in your application. And again, you can have a failure on the event level. So let's say if you want to search on the basis of any event ID, you can do that. There are multiple filter parameters, and I would encourage you guys to browse and go through all of these if you have an opportunity, which becomes very helpful. The next is the log point. Now this is also an important interesting thing that can help. Now what happens generally if, let's say, I want to enable a debugging log, right, in my any of my applications. So the standard method that we follow is we take the package name of that particular connector. Let's say if I want to have a debug log on my HTTP connector, so I can have the package name for my HTTP requests, and then in the logging section, the settings, under the loggings, I need to add that package as a debug enable. And when I apply, the application gets refreshed or restarted. But from here, it gives you a feasibility to directly add logging levels in your application at different connectors. So these are the out of box connectors that you can apply the log on. So let's say if I want to apply the logging on my HTTP as a debug logging on my hello world exp2 API, right? So the logging has enabled now. It will just take 1 minute for the logs to appear in your log search section. But if you see over here, my application, the log has already been enabled on my application. So I will start receiving the listener logs as well. So if you see, those are in debug, and all the HTTP packages have been auto added over here. But we need to keep in mind that it comes with a cost. All these monitoring and analysis always have a performance impact, like already it is given over here. So we need to choose wisely that what we require and what we don't really require. So this is also, I would say, a very nice or a good feature. Next is the raw data. Now this will help you to download the logs. This is again, all of these are the feature of the titanium version. So this also will help you to download the logs which are there in your application. So let's say I want to download the logs from tomorrow. So over here I can go ahead and download all the parts of the logs. Again, the data retention depends upon your subscription level over here.
Yep.
So this was for the log management part. Now let's move to the tool section. So this tool section
Yeah.
is generally,
Sorry to interrupt. Before we move on, we have a couple of more questions. Can we take that at this point?
yeah, sure.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Um, so one question was, in Mule 4.4 release notes, does it improve any logging capabilities? I've not looked into Mule 4.4.
Yeah,
Do you know anything about it?
I think even I haven't got an opportunity yet to see if there are any differences in the logging capabilities.
Yeah. Senthil, we will check that and get back to you, man. Okay. So next question is, are event ID and correlation ID one is same?
Yeah. So generally, I would say, unless, so the difference between that is the event ID is something which is like both event ID and auto ID are correlation ID are auto generated, but you always have a provision to change or update the correlation ID in your application. So if you're changing that correlation ID, then you will have a difference between event ID and correlation ID. But generally, they are normally the same only. So unless and until you are giving any explicit, correlation ID from something from your data or anything like that, it will be it is going to be the same.
Okay. Yeah. So after enabling the log, will it redeploy the application on runtime manager? I mean, do we need to redeploy the application? Enabling the log.
No, you don't have to do that. I'll come to that parts that there are multiple ways wherein you can enable logging for your application. So I will come to that. And no, it is not generally required for you to manually redeploy the application.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. And how about can we manually add packages for debug logs in runtime manager?
Yeah, sure. You can always do that. That is the standard way actually that we have been following. But there is an additional feature that even the Anypoint platform provides. You can always go into the logging section of your API and have any level of logs and add the package name of what package you want the logs to be listened to.
Yeah, yeah. To add on to what Sanjana told, even runtime manager will come out of the box for the customers, but Anypoint monitoring is an add-on tool which has more capabilities than runtime manager. So there is additional cost involved when you want to purchase Anypoint monitoring capabilities. So customers who doesn't have Anypoint monitoring, they can also do that via runtime manager.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. So there is a, I think that's out of scope. Can we restart an API without any downtime?
Yes, it will be right.
Yeah.
So that is the
So
best thing of MuleSoft. Like it will not, it will be a downtime, like zero downtime without when we restart the application.
yeah, Chitty Babu. So we have a zero downtime capability. That is for cloud up based environment, and yeah, that will allow you to have zero downtime.
Uh,
Uh,
Sanjana, do you have any sample like how what the package name will give here? Any sample?
Yeah, of course. Let's see now. Let's do the reverse engineering. Okay, let's add HTTP connector log again over here. Then let's go to our API. Push this thing. So let me ping this on the chat window for everybody who would like to. What is the chat? These are
Thanks,
related
Sanjana.
to HTTP packages because I have added the logging on my HTTP connector.
okay, that's great.
Thanks, Sanjana.
Thank you, Sanjana.
Okay, so yeah, so let's move on to the tool section. So this section will allow, in case if you want to have any external connect integration, right, with your logs, it will help you to deliver notifications to the external systems, and here you have the built-in connectors that you can use for such integrations. Yeah. So like you can see over here, the Cloud Hub 4 tokenization Mule 4, Mule 3. So you can always connect your notifications to the external system from any point monitoring. So this will route you to the exchange page of that particular connector, and from therein you can try to leverage the APIs that you can use. So over here it will open the exchange page and it will give you the guidelines of how you can use these connector to send the notifications to the external system. Next, let's come to this important section of dashboards. So first we will go through to the built-in dashboards. So first thing is, what are these dashboards which are provided by Anypoint Monitoring? So these dashboards give you the matrix of your performance of your applications or the running status of your applications and all these things. So these are generally provided in the form of matrix and the tabs that we see, many different tabs. So built-in dashboard is the default dashboard that is provided by AnyPoint platform. That this is the minimum things or the out of box metrics that you are going to have in a graphical representation. Now let's come to a point like how you can enable AnyPoint monitoring in your applications. So there are three ways by which you can enable monitoring in your application. First is the automatic. You can set automatic monitoring, or you can enable monitoring for newly deployed Cloud Hub applications. So let's say there are few applications that you want to deploy, and you want by default for them to have the monitoring as enabled. So you can go in the settings sections, and this checkbox will allow you to enable the monitoring for newly deployed Cloud Hub applications. But there is also a disclaimer that it will not have any impact on your already deployed application which are not having the monitoring capabilities. So this is the first way, but I would really recommend you to understand what is the use case or what is the requirement, because like I said, the monitoring is going to have a performance cost in your applications. So you need to take a trade-off that do you want monitoring enabled for all of the applications, or only a particular applications. So let's say if you only want monitoring for some particular application, then you can go inside enabling or disabling the monitoring, and you can always disable or enable the monitoring for any of your new APIs. So these are the two methods using the browser or the AnyPoint monitoring. You can enable any of the applications that you want to deploy, and like I said, we need to um, get in touch with the requirement or the trade-off that what level of monitoring you required in all of your APIs. And the third and the last way to do that is adding the property in your application. So this AnyPoint platform config analytics agent enabled true will identify that this particular application should be, basically this will start the integration between your application and the analytics. It will start sending the data from your application to the analytic tool so that you can display it for monitoring purposes. So these are the three ways. Now let's come back to the built-in dashboard and let's see what are the features provided in that. So as you can see, this is the overview tab. So the overview tab will give you the graphical representation of the matrix at a high level. And if you want further any deep dive or a detailed metrics for each of those things, like for example this is for the inbound. So if you want a detailed description of your inbound metrics or the inbound messages coming to MuleSoft, then you can go to this particular tab and see the metrics which are very much related or focused on your inbound request. So let's go through them one by one. So coming to the overview tab, you can see there are a lot of graphical representation metrics that have been provided to you by inbuilt, which is like mule messages, which is the number of messages triggered to your applications from flow invocations, the average response time of your API or your application, the errors that have happened in your application, and always you can refine it to search for a much broader data, like I have selected over here for 24 hours, and also I can select for a particular date or time depending upon my retention policy. Now this is a section for the inbound request. Now this is a total number of requests by response type. By response type I mean if it was a failure response or a 200 OK response. So I can see that how many requests have returned OK response, how many requests have been given a failed response. Requests have been given a failed response. The inbound average response time for all of the inbound requests that have been given to my API in the last 24 hours. Now this is a section for outbound. So again, this is only two metrics given to outbound. If you want further metrics, you can go to each of the tabs and see. Now for outbound, there is the total request by response time. So again, this is the same, that total number of requests received, which is grouped by the response, 200 OK or a failed response time. Average response time again for all the outbound requests. that have gone from our API to external API. These are the JVM related metrics like the CPU utilization, the heap memory which is used, the thread count. So this is an overview or a high level. Now, if let's say I want to see my inbound, particularly something related to my inbound requests. Let's say how many is this API calling causing any slowness, or is there anything which has failed in this particular API? Then I can go to the inbound section, and over here let's, so this is a interesting thing. So you can see the response time by HTTP endpoint. Now I have two endpoints. One is the API slash messages and API slash X. Now it has given me the response time in terms of average response time, the minimum response time for all the messages that have been received by this endpoint, and the maximum. Now there is also color coding provided over here, right? So the general thumb rule for this is if my response is less than 300 milliseconds, then it is going to be a green one, which is a good or a healthy response time, which is less than 300 milliseconds. If my response time is between 300 to 600 milliseconds, it will give me a yellow color indications. And if my response time is greater than 300 milliseconds, then it will the color coding will be red, which kind of can be, you can have a look at this particular endpoint which is behaving in not a good way, in not a very performance optimistic way. Next, let's see total. That's also something which can be helpful. Total number in the report section, you could see that the total number of requests received. Right now, this gives you a further bifurcation that in that API, how many endpoints are there and how many requests were received by each of those endpoints. And again the response time percentile of the inbound requests coming in, like 99 percentile, that means 99% of the requests were having these response time, 90% of the requests were having this response time, and so on. This is related to the failure count, that is the number of requests, inbound requests, which have failed in my application. And this is also important, which can be, leveraged by the DevOps team. This is a slow response time. Now what the monitoring will consider slow is something which has taken greater than 1 second. It will be considered as a slow response time. So over here you can see that how many APIs have the response time more than 1 second. So that will be here. So this will help you understand that okay, your API is working a bit slow. You might have to deep dive into if there is any error, why it is taking so much time. Is it something that an outbound connector is failing? So you can go over here in the connector section and see if there is any failure with respect to any, connectors, or what are the connectors that are getting used, what is the request volume that is being received by the connector. So you can see the volume, that is the total number of outbound requests grouped by connector. So my application is only having an HTTP connector, outbound connector, so it is going to give you metrics of that only. These are no data points because I'm not using any of these connectors in my application. The failure one also is there, like how many failures have happened on the HTTP outbound connector. Then the inbound and the outbound are pretty much having the same metrics. So I will go through the performance one directly. The performance, like the name suggests, will give you how many number of mule messages have gone, what is the CPU utilization that has been done, what is the average response time for inbound, what is the average response time for outbound. The again those same metrics but at a deeper level for both inbound and outbound. The failure sections will focus more on the error part, like how many errors have happened in the complete application. Then in further deep down you can have the failures bifurcated on inbound failures, what is the number of outbound failures, again the failure by endpoint type, number of failure request by endpoint type. So this particular has one failure, this particular has four failures. The response time again with the color coding. So this is a general view. Now, as you can see, right, there are a lot of metrics which are present over here in the built-in dashboard, and it can be that you don't require all of them. You have a requirement for a specific use case or a specific metrics that you are focusing on. Let's say, I just want to know the average response time of my input requests and the average response time of my outbound requests. So the other feature that you can use is the custom dashboard, and this gives you a feasibility to design your own dashboard of, you can pick and choose whatever things or whatever matrix that you use, and you can define them. So create to create a I will create let's create a new dashboard. So to create a new dashboard, you can go to the new dashboard over here, and you can go to the new dashboard over here, and you can put it as, let's say, go to add row. Let's say I want a graphical representation. Then I can add a new graphical representation. I can configure it. Now panel title. Let's say the first metric that I want is the inbound approach response time. And I'm selecting it to be an application panel rather than an API panel. Response time. So I can go here and I can select this. Then I need to select the particular environment and which API I am focusing on for this dashboard in the sandbox environment. So now I have started seeing. Now next, let's say I want inbound is done. Now I also want the outbound response times. Basically, you can consider it as drag and drop or pick and place of all the things that you require, all the matrices that you require. You can have them. You want to apply changes and the dashboard is set. So whatever specific metrics that I require, I can create a custom dashboard for that. Yeah, I think that's it. That's it from my end. So over to you, Supriya.
Yeah. Sanjana, we had one more question. So, is it
Yeah,
possible to
sure.
check the heap dump here in monitoring tool? I think yes, right?
Yeah. So what you can do is you can see all the matrices related to your to the heap memory, like heap used,
Hmm.
how much of your heap memory is getting utilized. What is the thread count? How many threads are getting generated for adhering your request? How long the JVM was available, the JVM uptime.
Yep. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over to
Uh,
you, Supriya. Stop sharing my screen.
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Thank you, Sanjana.
Thank you so much, Sanjana. That was really awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, thanks.
Hope everybody is able to see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, about monitoring and alerts, basically which is available in AnyPoint monitoring, as you have learned from Sanjana, that Most of the things are based on the access. Okay, so even if you have a platinum access, not necessarily this particular option will be available to all of you all. Sometimes it is your platform architect who decides who should have the access, who shouldn't have the access, but it totally depends on what business requirement is. If they really want this monitoring or alerts this way, or they are going to choose some other way. For example, if it's a data errors or technical errors within the code, we have a email capabilities. Then we have, we can like kind of create our response structure and send it to ServiceNow and other incident management tools. So everybody has right to choose their style. So few years back, when in one of my project few months back, when in one of my project I've got to explore the functional monitoring. We at the first moment we thought that, where it is required, why it is required. Because it is, as you say, Sanjana has also mentioned, it is license based, not everything is free. Okay, so that way let's look into the alerts, what alerts are providing, and let's look in the functional monitoring also, how you effectively you can make a use of functional monitoring. And does it really make sense to use it just for a few APIs, or when you have multiple APIs, then only you should use it. But at least just let's explore these options. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the alerts. So the option in the Anypoint Studio, just a second. Yes, so this is Anypoint monitoring page. Okay, so absolutely, like you go from here, you click monitoring, and then you open Anypoint monitoring. These are some options which are as part of monitoring. Okay, so in that you go to alerts. Yeah, I'm already in alerts, sorry. Yeah, so in that you go to alerts. Okay, now let's take some theoretical information about alerts, and let's check one API manager alert demo. That's something I've got for you. So alert indicates, whether your MuleSoft API, or maybe for that matter resource, is expecting, is expecting in the that its behavior is as expected. That's what alert is going to define. Okay, alerts is also, early identification, or maybe early notification about something about your API, that say this is what going to happen, and then accordingly we can take a proper action of this. So you can implement several type of alerts. In the alerts page you will see basic alert is there. Okay, and advanced alert is there. Basic alert, advanced alert. Also, this point is very important, that alert is available where. You have to understand that alert is available as part of monitoring, as part of runtime manager, and as part of a API manager. Okay, let's just check what is basic alert, and then we'll try to create one. So sorry, basic alert, the limit per organization, if we do not have the titanium subscription, that means if we have a regular platinum subscription or something, at that point we have a 50 basic alerts. Okay, so when I'll open the alerts, you will exactly understand. I'm going to add some recipients to that. So one alert is done, two alert is done. So 50 alerts is something which you can uh, add as part of normal platinum subscription. When it comes to titanium subscription, the limit is 100 basic alerts. Okay, let's talk about advanced alerts. Limit per organization is up to 20 advanced alerts. Now let's take the point into the consideration that advanced alert is only for the titanium subscription. If you have other subscription, you won't be able to add the advanced alerts. Okay, so this is what two types of alerts are. Then as I mentioned, the alert is in runtime manager, is in API manager, and is in function, like Anypoint monitoring. So these are three places where alerts is present. Okay, now let's talk about this filter by all states. So this is a state of alerts, so we'll understand what does this states indicates. So if you select a no data, like this is something, while creating the alerts it is going to ask you that whether you want no data, disable alerting. No, sorry, it is once you create the alert, the state is going to define whether it is no data, whether it is okay, or whether it is what. So no data is available in the series to evaluate alert threshold. That's the explanation of a no data. Disable meaning the alert has got disabled. So probably this is the switch. Okay, this is currently paused, but it will get disabled. Alerting, the state, another state is alerting. Okay, this wait. this alerting. So alerting is the value of metrics with when it specify when it what do we say, crosses the threshold level. At that time, the state will change into the alerting for one particular alert. Okay, the okay is the value of the metric has not passed the threshold. That time the alert state is going to be okay. The pending is that the alert is enabled and but it is waiting for your evaluation. So even if I create the alert in front of you, it is going to take time from moving to pending to any active state, any other state. Okay, so it is going to take time. So that is about state, which I have explained. Now let's talk about the severity. Severity is the most common words you must have heard. Critical is something wherein what do we say, quicker attention is required when it is critical. Warning is maybe assigned to alerts, but the prompt attention is required from your end, not as quick as possible, but yes, that needs to be checked and needs to be closely monitored. Whereas info is like the if severity is like really less, you do not require the immediate attention. The severity index, the metrics should passively monitored, like don't monitor it quite a frequent time, but monitor it sometimes. So that's all about the status and the severity. Let's just click on this new alert. Okay, now let's see what it offers as part of alert name, severity level. So alert name is something we have to give that option. So I'll give test alert, then I select severity, which is say critical. Now it's up to me. I do not have multiple servers. See, so I'm going to select it as application. I select sandbox, and then I select one of my API, suppose this. Okay, and now I want to see decide what. So here the difference between advanced alert and basic alert. One difference I've already told you. Advanced alert is a part of Titanium Access. Basic alert is available in Platinum, Titanium both. Basic alert is 50 per organization. Okay, when you move to Titanium, it is 100 per organization. The in advanced alert, I'm repeating again that it is 20 per organization, and it is not there in Platinum. So yeah, it is 20 per organization for Titanium Access only. The another important difference could be the kind of metrics they available are available. Okay, so message count, message error count, message response time, CPU utilization, memory utilization, and the thread count. Some of these alerts you will be able to see in the runtime alerts also. Okay, as I said, runtime also provides the alert. So whenever we are selecting the metric, we have to mention this message count. So if I select suppose message response time, or maybe let's say CPU utilization. Okay, so above what percentage will CPU utilization will go, and then only you have to create this alert. So this you have to understand, right, that if you are mentioning, suppose if it only crosses, I think 70% or 60%, if it is crossing, then also I think we should pay attention to the application, that why it is behaving this way. Okay, so these are the, so here what you can select a metric and then you can provide the counts. Okay, coming back to the email notification, which will automatically generate from the this basic alert, is you do not have to provide a severity. The severity value will be taken from here. Okay, so you don't have to prove, you don't have to click that. So all these values auto generated, it is going to take. Let me hide this. Yeah, so here you can give some name. Let me give my own ID. I say enter, so it's getting added. Okay, and what I do is, guys, just to give demo for this, it is not that possible because I don't have this, I cannot generate this error, actually that's the problem. But I'm going to show you some different alert. Okay, so see, this is what I have created, but currently it is going to be in the pending state. Okay, after some time it gets active into the status of active alert. Okay, or maybe enabled alert, etc. But as I explained you the alert, let me quickly show you the advanced alert also, and one of the API alert I'm going to show. So alerts are added and configured the alert, just a second. Alerts are added and configured in the alert tab of any graph within custom dashboard, letting you build the visualize alert using existing queries. Okay, so here what it is trying to say is, if the custom dashboard we have created, so there where we are going to understand. So let me just explain you what all things you can check in advanced alert. Just give me one moment. Yeah. So in advanced alert, the severities and the states are going to be quite same, but the features which we have, that is a uh, hip memory alert. Okay, this is one in advanced alert. Not where my screen is hanged. Wait. Oh, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in the way we have some options in the custom dashboard, as you know, that is about. Let me just quickly show that to you. Just a second. Okay, so what I mean by this is I'm added something. Okay, so what I mean by custom dashboard, while creating custom alert, sorry, advanced alert, in that case we are going to use the values, we are going to use the kind of graphs or kind of the things which we have created in the custom dashboard, we can replicate the same and we can show it as part of the advanced alert. So whenever these things, if you have seen, whenever there is a CPU memory usage, maybe, or maybe something related to your error counts or something, if that goes above the level which we have mentioned, in that case your custom alert is going to get generated. Okay, so as I told you, the option of the API manager alert, let's just check that and how the alert comes. Okay, so there is, how do we start about it, that as you know, the usual steps, whenever you create a design in the raml, the next thing is you are going to publish it to exchange. The third thing, you try to manage the API. While managing the API, you assign the policies, you assign the SLAs. This is what you do in the API manager. So similarly, I've done it for one of my API, which is monitoring API. Here I've gone and I've added simple policy, which is a basic authentication. Okay, here there is an option of alerts. So I go here, I click on add alert. Okay, I need to name this. So let me give the name policy violation. It's on me. I'll show you what options it is going to show you. I say it as enabled, I say it as critical, and select. So see this: request count, response code, policy violation, and response time. So if you select anything and anything really if gets violated, then the alert is going to get generated. So for just to show you the demo, policy violation is easy for me. So of course, when you select a policy violation, it is going to ask you to select the policy. So you may have client ID enforcement implemented for something, you may have basic authentication, or you may have OAuth 2.0, anything. So if you select a basic authentication, here also you have to mention that greater than maybe 2 times in 1 minute. See this, how values I'm giving. Okay, so having said that, you will exactly understand minutes. Okay, so what does my count, this expression is talking about is, anybody, any consumer tries to use my API with wrong policy or maybe with wrong credentials for greater than 2 times in 1 minute. So it shouldn't be like that at this is 12 p.m. So today, like at 12 p.m. you have triggered one request, at 1 p.m. you have triggered with one request, and both the things are false, the credentials are wrong, and still you're expecting the alert should receive. It won't get received. Okay, it will only get received if the expression gets passed. So let me add my own mail. I click enter and I say create alert. Okay, so this is something, my alert only. Let me just kind of, this is my earlier alert. For this request count maybe 5 in 1 minute. I've just edited the alert, I've just changed it a bit. Okay, so I'm going to check for today the policy violation alert. Okay, so what I do is my username and password. So let me just test my API first. So this is my API which I have deployed, and of course auto discovery ID and Anypoint platform credential is something which is a linkage. I hope I don't need to explain that, but that linkage is there between API manager and runtime manager, so don't forget about it. So username, password. Okay, this is, so I get the right response. Suppose if somebody is trying to use it in some different way, suppose they try username 1, authentication failed, authentication failed. Maybe I tried, maybe 4 5 times I've tried. Let's just wait that after the policy gets violated, how the error is going to come, how the alert is going to come. Okay, so it will come to my email ID. So with this alert, I have given one more alert, which is a test alert, and it is for request count. Okay guys, forgot to explain you, the if you are adding the request count alert, definitely you should have a policy of rate limiting, so that is mandatory there. Okay, so we'll, for now we'll just check about the alert wherein policy violation is there. Let's just wait, maybe give it a time of maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and then I'll quickly show you how the alert looks like. Okay, and one more thing, whenever your alert, suppose alert is received, after some time, maybe within 2 to 3 minutes, if the same alert is not getting generated, you automatically get one email saying that your alert is resolved. That is the email which you get. So in that case, if you get this email, you're like, okay, okay, fine, now my immediate action is not required in that case. Okay, so let's just wait, it will take some time to come, but meanwhile I'll just show you how does it look like. Okay, this is going to look like this. Okay, so big logo will come, Anypoint Platform Alert Notification. It will talk my API, whatever is my API name. It will talk about the environment, and then it will give me the exact reason and my expression which I've set up. Okay, so let me just stop sharing and let me open my email. My screen is not visible, right?
Not now, not now.
Okay, fine. Now I'm sharing again my screen. This is the alert which I've received just now. Okay, just a second.
Okay.
Let me know once it is visible. So as you can see, a time 12:12, which is 0 minutes ago. Alert, test alert. Okay, API request count for API monitoring. See this, and I have received this. Environment is sandbox, has received greater than 5 requests within one consecutive period. Okay, so this is my actually request count alert. Let me just show you one more alert should come. We'll wait for maybe 1 minute, another 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Supriya, one quick question here. So,
Yes.
other than email, is there any other integrations that we can do? For example, ServiceNow.
I think that option is there in functional monitoring. Let me check if that option is available here also. 1 second. I don't think so. It is here, but it is in functional monitoring for sure. That's something I'll be showing to you.
Okay, thank you.
See this. End of the story. I think it is just giving you one option, which is just recipients. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. This option is available, but in functional monitoring, definitely this option is available.
Okay. I think that's a good add-on. Like if we can send it to some Slack or ServiceNow.
It is there. It is there for sure. Okay, and as I said, after some time you're going to get one more email, which is, see, result test alert. So within like 2 minutes, if you don't get the same alert, it is going to show you that how this has worked. Okay, so yeah, that's it about alerts. Let me go back to our functional monitoring thing. Yeah, so this is also all about alerts. I wanted to show you some alert, that how it gets generated, so that you get the perfect idea. Okay, but again, please remember, my one point is it should be on the basis of the requirement. On the trial access, whatever I could show you, I've shown that to you. But when it comes to your projects, when it comes to your APIs, you have to design it well, that if alert is really required here, then only we'll put it, otherwise no. Okay, so let's move to the functional monitoring section. Okay, functional monitoring is all about how to create the monitors, and how to update, add the monitors. I will tell you that in my project how effectively I've used it, and that is making sense. And whenever, okay, so let's talk about something which is functional monitoring. So that is going to enable you to the monitor responses to request, send the API resources to their endpoints. Okay, so this is particularly about the resources, and that you will see when I'm trying to create a monitor, you will exactly observe that it is checking resources. Okay, so each and every resource, so one API, if it has 10 resource, if you want to have a monitoring on one particular resource, you can go for that. If you have to have a monitoring on all the resources, you can choose that also. Okay, so it is totally upon you. So let's check quickly. So I entered into the functional monitoring. Whatever monitors you have, you will be able to see here because I've created one monitor. Then let's talk about locations and etc. So let's click on create monitor. Okay, I think just maybe 1 or 2 months back this UI has changed. I'm not sure if people have already used it. The UI was looking in different kind, but just maybe 1 or 2 months back this has been changed. So very first thing in creator monitor is you have to give a monitor name. Okay, so maybe your project name is let's say your project is Amazon. That's your project name. Okay, that's a project name. So Amazon help, that's my monitor name. Okay, so you have to select the locations. Now by default US East 1 and East 2 is there. If you want to create a private location, you can do that also. In this UI it is not mentioned, but I think for public location it is max 5 locations is something, sorry, for private location max 5 numbers of private location is something which you can create. So if you do create, so you have to choose this also, that if, okay, create private location is select environment is suppose sandbox. Okay, monitor schedule totally up to you. Every 15 minutes you want, daily, I think daily ones is enough if you're adding some monitor. Okay, and if there are between some SSL certification, definitely if you are the rest points, then some or the other way SSL will be there, so you can choose that also. Hey guys, just to make it working, I'm going to select a public location only. Okay, but I've just showed you how to add the private, but I want this to be working, hence I'm selecting that. Okay, so now there is select endpoints. Okay, I need to add a endpoints. Now my two APIs are already deployed onto the runtime manager. Okay, one is this API that gives me, let me show you API message status. Okay, I am choosing, oh sorry, I am choosing that I want the monitoring, okay, which is on the status, on the based of status. Now it is totally up to you that you want to assert each and every code, or it is like my purpose to add the monitoring is every morning if I have 50 APIs deployed, okay, in the cloud app. So I want the report that all those APIs are started in the started case or not. So this is one point what I've chosen, that I use a functional monitoring. I keep on adding in the same monitor the new API status calls. So this status call needs to be exposed first. So this status call is doing nothing but just giving you a simple response saying your API started. Okay, so if I imagine that if a business or a client is getting this monitoring report every day, that okay, these are the APIs we are functioning. If some of the APIs, it gives if it doesn't work, it is not going to create the report for functional monitoring. If all the APIs are started and working properly, then the functional monitoring email is not going to get triggered. Remember this point. If one or two, and that is I think a good point. With that, we are not using this because this is available from the MuleSoft. Like MuleSoft is arranging this email notification kind of thing. So if everything is green, the email is not getting triggered, and I think that's a good part. So if maybe one or two your APIs with respect to their status is whatever you have added is not working, we'll get the email notification. So how does it look like as part of functional monitoring? We'll quickly talk about it. So suppose this is my endpoint. You can add multiple endpoints also. I'll tell you how. Now this is headers. It is saying it is optional, but we have provided the header, so we have to add it. Okay, so probably I add maybe my username or password, or maybe if I have client ID as a secret, whatever, I can add it here. I'm going to show you the X monitor only. So assertions, so here your status code, you can check it with whether it matches to 200 or not. Now imagine that you're doing some operations with respect to Salesforce or a database. Now you know that if you create some records, instead of getting 200, you get a response 201 which is created, or maybe 202 which is accepted. So that way you can change your assertions on the basis of the way you want your monitor to be designed. If I do add endpoint, similar, you can add it for another API. If you don't want to add it for another API, you can add it for the same API but having a different endpoint. Okay, so it can be a different resource also, that's fine. Within one API. Okay, similarly we add headers if they are available. If we add assertions, that's also fine. Okay, so this is how we keep on adding the endpoints. Okay, now the third thing is the notifier. Now here the point comes, which I think Anup, you were mentioning this, right? So Slack is there, PagerDuty is there, New Relic. Out of this, I think I've used a Slack, I've using an email. I didn't use this two things. Okay, so this is something which we can select like this, and I can keep on adding the values. Enter. And I say create monitor. I've not filled up this place, hence it is not showing, but I can show create monitor. Okay, let me go to the monitors which I've already created. So this is something which I've already created. Now you also have a requirement that I want to add an endpoint to my existing monitor. That's one. Probably you want to change the schedule of the monitor. That's two. You want to add the recipients to the monitor. That's the third point. You can just simply, no, not like this, but you can, let me see where is edit monitor button. Okay, here, edit monitor. So with the edit monitor there was delete monitor also, so you can make a use of it. So guys, this is what I've added: one endpoint which is for system, and here I've added 200 status code. Another endpoint which I've added, that is for experience layer, there also I've added a 200. Okay, now let's talk about changing the scheduler.
Supriya, just a moment. So there is a question from Atul, wherein he wants to understand like what is the where monitoring is helpful for services. So Atul, basically, it's not necessary that it is you should monitor only the ones services which are being called from your API, but it also helps you to understand the anomalies in as a consumer, right? So let's say you've posted an API, but like Supriya mentioned, someone is calling it with an invalid. Client ID, client secret, or an invalid credential. Then in that case also alerting can be used to identify what is why this is happening, that there is an invalid client ID, client secret being sent across by someone, or if there is a response time, right, that Supriya just showed that my response time is getting high in such amount of time, that is my API is behaving slowly, so I'll have a rather an alert sent to the operations team to check why it is slow, what why it is failing, or if the CPU utilization has increased to like 90% or something like that, so I'll always have an option that my API could crash and stop serving the requests, right? So all of these become a use case why we would use monitoring or alerting capabilities in any of our integrations. I hope that answers your question.
And somebody has asked the question about how many endpoints are allowed. Oh, it's a good question, but let me be precise. I've tried with 12 endpoints and that has worked. Okay, now the point here is, Jivan, that it's up to a business requirement, and you decide, your project decides that you want monitoring for exactly what state. Okay, you have an explicit exception handling also in your code if you agree on this. Now it's up to you. If this view is going to go to the business, you're ensuring that they should only get to know about the statuses. Now in one API you won't check the status again and again, you'll just have one endpoint to check the status. That's one point. Okay, and such a multiple APIs you can have, right? Multiple monitors also you can have. Suppose we have different business groups. One business group is maybe for customers, one business group is just for the products information. So that way we can have separate endpoints also. But this information, this particular how many endpoints maximum are allowed is something I haven't checked. But if I get to know something, I'll just come back to you and I'll just give you the answer. But so far I think I've tried with 12 endpoints and that has worked. That has not given the issue. Okay. Atul, I think Atul has said got it something. So there's no question, right, Atul?
No, I think we are good at this point.
Okay, fair enough. Then we'll move to what I was talking. Yeah. So here is something wherein two endpoints have already created. Now, already there is a schedule. Just a second. This is something I've already added. Let me check the scheduler. Okay. Yeah, this is my monitor. Yeah, if you come here, there is a add schedule. So one schedule is already added. That is something I've added monthly. But if I want to add another schedule, which is, yeah, my region is this only, and I want it to be every 15 minutes. Okay, so I can have another schedule also. So one and the same thing. So maybe this schedule every 15 minutes, whatever it is running, disable schedule. Anytime you can modify schedule, delete schedule, but it is every 15 minutes. So what I want to do, I just don't want to wait for that long. What I'll do is I'll just run this. Let me run this. Okay, so something has started, it is running. Let it give some time. And I feel, as I've said, that if the status is green for all the API, your report is not going to get generated. And I think that's a plus point. It shouldn't get generated. So let's just wait for the email. Let me stop sharing. My screen is not visible, right? Okay, guys. See, this is something, one false case I've generated myself, that if 200 is not, see the screen again. Just now, maybe 1 minute back, I've got this response because I've clicked on run now. If I don't do run now, then it is going to run on your schedule time. But I will say, I will just suggest that don't keep it every 15 minutes and don't just junk the email box. So it is better if you choose some frequency, maybe 1 day or maybe every 15 days or 1 month or something like that. So see this, 0 minutes ago we have received this email. So this is going to be a subject line. So functional monitoring alert, health check failed. Okay, and the configuration was default, and any point platform alert notification. See, these were the endpoints. So look at my assertions. I have purposefully added the assertion that it has to be 200, but if it has to be 401, but if it gets 200 apart from something, so this is a error which I have generated myself. Okay, so whenever it is failed, you're getting, purposefully I'm not showing you the successful responses, because if you add a successful scenarios, you're not going to get the any report. Same in the case of alert. If you don't have any error, why the alert will get generated? Okay, so this is how you can tackle functional monitoring. And the UI has changed a bit, so but it is not that difficult to understand. But yeah, there are multiple options wherein you can keep on adding the endpoints. I would suggest that have just one monitor for one project and keep on just adding the endpoints wherever it is required. And as I mentioned, how effectively I am using it in my project, the answer to that is I am checking the statuses. So that gives a good view to the business. So I actually use this in a day-to-day life, and my business gets the view that if all the statuses are fine or not, API working fine or not. And yeah, I think multiple assertions also you can add it with one endpoint. So that is all about functional monitoring. Okay, any questions in functional monitoring? Anup, any question we have?
No, we don't have at
Huh.
this point. I think we are good.
Just a second. Coming back to my slides, I showed you email notification alert. This is how it looks for functional monitoring. I just showed it to here. So yeah, this was the earlier UI. It has it has changed a bit right now. In my screenshot you can see this. See, this was the earlier functional monitoring UI. Create, see, I was talking about a public schedule. So here where I've taken the data, you have one of 5 public schedules remaining. So if I already created one, it will show one of I mean one is used. Now if you use all 5, you won't be able to create the public. Then you have to go for something which is you will be able to create it using the private locations. Okay, and then just one things which I wanted to cover. For that I do not have a demo to show you for custom metrics, but I'll just explain you on the basis of what I've read. But anybody in this group, if they have more idea on the custom metrics, please feel free to pitch in between. So what I have understood about a custom metrics, which is here. Okay, so first of all, that is for titanium. Okay, that's one point. Okay, and it enables to send the operational and business metrics values. So one of the example which I was watching on the internet is about some application was created. So this has a lot of things to do with the MuleSoft Design Center. So whatever I know, I'm just explaining you. But yeah, feel free to add points. Design Center. So here we have a provision that what exact metrics we want to portray. So create new. Where is that design? This only. Test metrics, something like this. Oh no, what am I doing? Create new. A Mule app. Okay. Test metrics. I'm sorry. Create app. Okay. Basically, after creating custom metrics, it gets created as a connector, and you have to use that connector into your code, so that some business or operation level of the values or maybe the counts, that view directly goes to the business. So this is how custom metrics is created. Unfortunately, I don't have a demo to show about this, but yeah, as I said, I'm just exchanging the information whatever I've studied about it. Why it is taking too long? I don't know why it is taking too long. Oh my god.
I think
Let me
flow.
show the existing one which I have created. I think that is going to be better. Okay.
Yeah, Flow Designer was down for some time.
It generally gets down, Anup. That's my
Yeah,
observation.
yeah.
That's the question which forum people ask again and again. Like, because that's what it happens. I don't know, yeah. It is not just not getting click only. I'm clicking it so many times. Got hanged. Anyway, I think I was anyway just going to get cover the query. But one of the online example which I've seen, that whenever you create this custom metric, that you have to use as a connector inside your code, and then using the custom metrics, you can have the dashboards which can created as a part of custom dashboard, and that gives you the good view about the count. So one of the example which I saw about the store, and in that we were particularly checking about the t-shirt counts. That's what we were checking. Okay, so this is some business related data which a business gets the proper view about it. That's how it is.
Okay.
I don't know, it's gonna take time, I think. Is any question we have meanwhile? So monitoring should be above alerting. Sorry if it is repeating question. So monitoring should be above alerting. Atul, if you can brief more about this question, what do you mean by this?
Speak, I enabled you.
Atul, you can talk.
All right, thank you. Actually, what I wanted to understand, enabling these capabilities, so
Hmm.
we should have monitoring in place whenever there are processes and we wanted to supervise the health check of our APIs.
Hmm.
So that should be first in place, and then the alerting model also should be there. I mean,
See,
having
I will.
talking about the best practice. So monitoring alerting should go hand in hand. But monitoring something what I'm understanding is checking the health check or the heartbeat of the service.
See, Atul, how I will answer this question, or maybe if it is my project, I don't want a repetitive things in monitoring and alert. That's something which I'll ensure first. Okay, because I don't want unnecessary the alerts are getting created for one API. So what I'll do is the status thing, which is with respect to just to check the health of the API. That department I'll give to functional monitoring. Okay, and the data related wherein it's a technical thing, or maybe it is the errors which may something is somebody is going to try and it is going to fail inside your code with respect to the errors, like maybe policy violation or maybe some message count is more. That's something which we have seen. So there where I'll choose a particular alert, and while, if you remember, while I was creating the alert, there were options which were already available. In monitoring, such an option is not there. It is you, the way in the M units you yourself mock your request and you yourself give the assertion. So if that doesn't get matches, that fails, right? So here also you're using an endpoint, but the only thing is that actual endpoints will get hit, the actual API is going to get triggered. That's one point. Okay, about functional monitoring. So I will say that as a maybe the project member, you guys have to take a decision on the basis of what can be added as part of the alert and what can be added as part of a functional monitoring. Trust me, there are projects which are absolutely not using functional monitoring, or maybe absolutely not using the alerts because they have mechanisms like exception handling and the incidents management within their code.
Right.
So I think it totally depends upon how your requirement is. If I have dealt six projects, out of in six projects, two times I've only used functional monitoring. So it's a business, I guess, ask. So whether they want
Yeah,
to go for it
to,
or
to add to what Supriya told, functional monitoring is a proactive measure of your application. So you're not waiting for the application to get down to check that. So, for example, it's a proactive measure from the um, developers end to check the endpoints whether those um, services are healthy or not, the liveliness and the readiness check of the health check endpoints. And but the alerting that we said, only if the application is down you will send an alert. So that's something which has happened after the application is deployed and things and all. But functional monitoring is just, you are just making sure that you are proactively making sure that everything is up and running for every scheduled time. Right.
Understood. Yeah. Thank you, Anup. Thank you so much.
yes. Thank you, Anup. I think the guys, the design center is anyway. But as I explained you, custom metrics basically you understand for your business. If your business is interested in some what do we say, some business or operational related counts or maybe data at that time, customer metrics can be enabled. And anyway, I did not have a demo to show about it. So and because of our flow designer is not working, so we cannot take up that one. So I think, Anup, I'm done. I don't have anything to be explained as part of any point monitoring. I think we have covered together, we have covered 6 pointers which we were supposed to cover.
Yeah, yeah, good, good. Thank you so much, Supriya. Guys, do you guys have any questions? That's fine. Let me know. Let us know. Otherwise, like we are good. Thank you so much, Supriya. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Anup.
That
Thank you,
was a
everyone.
great session. Yeah. Okay. So let me share my screen. Give me a second. Oops. Share screen. Yep, there it is. So great. Thank you all. So next is our trivia quizzes. So before that, I just wanted to highlight. So What's next? So you can share. You can join our group. So meetup.mulesoft.com /Coimbatore. So we have our group. You can please send us the feedbacks of this session in meetups.mulesoft.com, and that will improve. That will help us to improve our session better. Okay. So this is important to us. So I'll appreciate all to send the feedback. Um, Thank you for that. And we have next meetup. Next Coimbatore meetup is going to be on October 30th by Ashish. We are going to look into some of the new features of Anypoint platform like data graph, transit gateways, teams, those kind of stuffs. Okay, so now coming back to the quiz time. So Balkis, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Okay, cool. So it's quiz time. So some of the prerequisite for this quiz, so you should not be a MuleSoft meetup leader, and you should have not won any trivia quiz the last 30 days, because obviously it is being analyzed by the training team, and they're going to reject that request. So please don't waste a voucher here. So you don't have to take the trivia quiz if you already won it in last 30 days. So for in order to uh, so we are using Kahoot. It's an online tool. We are using Kahoot to play the quiz. So you all can log into www.kahoot.com. I think we need to log in via mobile, right? Um,
Yes,
Balkis?
yes, sorry, I was talking mute. If you
Yeah.
have other
And I think
device,
via
please.
mobile or the browser also, laptop browser or desktop browser also.
Because from my screen you can see only the question, and you will be not as able to see those things in your mobile. So you need
Yeah.
to choose the
I think
color
I'll
over there.
I'll stop sharing. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so please use that pin to join. I'm sharing my screen. Just
Yeah, guys. So Balkis has sent you the pin in the chat. Please use that pin to join the session. So we'll
and
start when
please
we
give
have.
your complete name, like full name. Don't use any nickname to join here. So it is difficult for us to identify who is the winner. So please use your full name.
Right.
Thank you. Yep. So
Wait for 1 more minute. So anyone facing any issues, please let us know so we can help you.
we have 30 participants, 38 now. So at least expecting 30 to 35 to join. Yeah, 20, 21. Okay.
We'll wait for 1 more minute. And
Yeah.
we'll Okay, let's start that thing. I'm
Yeah.
logging this.
Yep. Yep. Thank you. Okay, guys. Let's start. So here is the first question. So the basic alert, you can select up to how many Unicorn platform user IDs and enter up to how many email address.
So choose the color from your mobile device you are seeing.
Um, 20 answers.
Okay, so all right. Vidya, Akansha, and Mastan are on top. Let's go to the next question. Which of the below does not belong to public location while setting up a functional monitor? Three, two, one. The answer is East. 12 answers right. Let's Mastan, Swaminathan, and Atul on top. Third question. While creating basic colors, which are two source types you can see as option? Okay, let's see who are the top. Dinesh, Mastan, and Manish are on the top. Let's go to fourth question. Alert cannot be created at which of below endpoint cloud app connector? API manager, visualizer, endpoint manager, runtime manager. Okay, 15 answers right. And the top goes to Manish, Soumya, and Mastan. Fifth one. What is the correct property to be used in runtime manager for any point monitoring?
Okay.
Okay, if I answered right. Okay, let's. So Mastan, Vidya, and Manish are on top. And sixth one. While creating a custom board, which of the below option is not available? Graph, table, single stat, CSV. Three, two, one. The answer is CSV. Okay, many answers single stat. It's fine. Mastan, Swaminathan, Vidya are on top. Second last. The export app data feature is available only in Titanium subscription. One and yeah, many answered right. So Mastan, Swaminathan, and Jeevan on the top. So last question. Which of these features is not present in the built-in application dashboard in gold and platinum? Flowchart, inbound, outbound, performance. Okay, many answered. Let's see who are on the top. Third one, Krishna Kishore. Congratulations, Krishna. Second goes to Mastan.
Mastan.
Congratulations. And the winner is Swaminathan. Congratulations, all three. And please share your email ID in the chat. So,
Yeah. So that's important, guys. Please share your email IDs in the chat. And congrats for everyone. And so first of I would like to thank Supriya and Sanjana for
yes.
such a wonderful session, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thanks for being an amazing participants.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey, wait now, organizer and speakers. Anup, are you not clicking picture? You don't follow these protocols?
We do, we
Uh,
do.
you do.
If you have clicked during the sessions, they are going to be very bad, especially of me. I'm sure.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. So maybe
So I enable few people who are interested.
Yeah,
Can you
anybody who's
please,
interested can, interested to show their faces on Saturday.
uh, please share your
Please share your
screen?
screens. Please on your videos. I think Balki is, yeah, huh.
Yeah.
Hello, Atul.
Hi, welcome.
Hi. Hi, Sanjana.
hi. Hey,
Hello,
so
Akshay.
hey, those who guys shared your email, make sure that you have an account, a training account registered with this email.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have
Swaminathan, can
another.
you please share your email? Is there or
Yeah, Mastan.
okay? I will do. Just 1 minute.
Not sure why I couldn't able to do that. Anyway,
Okay. Swaminathan dropped
At
off.
least the winners can come, Mastan.
Yeah.
Who else? Swaminathan. Hello, Mastan.
Yeah, hi.
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 And other one is Krishna, right? I will enable you out. Sorry.
Cool. Should we take?
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
taking the screenshot. So
Yeah. Even smile.
yeah.
You move a little further from the camera. Let us see your beautiful face.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, good.
I think I'm getting shadow. Let me just switch. Actually,
That's
Okay.
fine.
yeah, I know.
That means it's okay.
Still, we'll give you voucher. Even if the photo doesn't come through,
No,
Yeah.
still
no, I
you
didn't
will
mean
get the
that.
Don't
training. Don't
worry.
worry.
I mean, if you
Yes, you
can give
do.
the voucher based on the picture, I don't
Yeah.
No, no.
So we should get all the vouchers.
Okay. And
Yeah. So I think we have taken it, right?
Yeah, thanks.
yes.
Thanks again,
Thank
Sanjana
you.
and Supriya.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thank
Enjoy the
you.
Thank you.
rest of the
Take
Bye.
care.
weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Apriya. Thanks,
Yeah,
Sanjana.
thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Anup. Thanks,
Thanks,
Bye
everyone.
guys.
bye. Thanks, Anup. Thanks, Balkis. Bye bye.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Supriya, Sanjana. Um.
Anup,
Balkis,
we missed
Swaminathan,
Swaminathan.
I have. I'll
You
just
have.
share it
Okay.
to you in the Slack.
Okay. Done.
Okay. Balkis, finally we did it.
Yeah. Thanks, Anup.
No problem. No problem, Balkis. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.
Let me end event for all.
Okay.